Chris Dwyer here. It's a great day in post-traumatic growth. And my hat's off. Former EGA football player, wide receiver, NFL football player, New England Patriots, and Malcolm Mitchell. And Malcolm was from Valdosta, and he was a 4-star recruit, but he was really a 5-star, moved right up in the rankings, and he he inspired me, and he grew a love for reading when he was in college. I believe it was his first year, and he came into UGA and just kind of caught the team by storm. But he put up a post this morning, and he inspired me. Thanks, Malcolm. Hopefully we can connect. But he was talking about reading, and he was on the Steve Harvey show, and he put up a great post. I'll read some of it this morning, but he says at the very end of it, he said, progress does not happen overnight, but every page, every chapter, every lesson adds up. And I'll read that one more time. Progress does not happen overnight, but every page, every chapter, every lesson adds up. And as I've done repeatedly in PTSD recovery, and this is really post-traumatic growth, it's called commonly referred to as PTG. Post-traumatic growth is a real life phenomenon scientifically, and he created and I have elite intuitive pattern recognition. And what Malcolm Mitchell is doing here, which is phenomenal. One, I love the way he writes, because on the internet you're writing for everybody, and it does not need to be academic. Number one. And he uses intuition he creates intuition for the reader, and the best writers do that. And it's so well done. And one of the reasons why I just love reading it. SEO for websites and stuff. You don't need to write academically. You don't. If you write for a technical software company, you need to break it down and make it easy for the reader, because people don't understand what the hell you're talking about, nor does Google. Google's not going to like that. I like to say, if you have a technical definition on a page, define it below the fold. And below the fold means, in newspaper terminology, it means you fold a newspaper, it's below the fold. The same thing as a website. Somebody comes to your website on a phone, it's below the phone, where they actually have to scroll. The same thing on a desk computer, it's below where they need to scroll. Users aren't going to scroll. They work in an L shape. They go down and they go over, and they kind of go down again and they go over. But anyway, so what I did, and I've done this repeatedly, and this is a long post, but maybe it's I can break this up. What he's doing here by saying, again, progress does not happen overnight. And I think that you can categorically describe that as what is called an idiom metaphor, along with when he uses the phrase adds up. He says, but every page, every chapter, every lesson adds up. And the word adds up is technically in what's called an idiom. And he's using the words every page, every chapter, every lesson as a metaphor. And I've done this repeatedly. As when I say post-traumatic growth, I've done this repeatedly. I was terrible with vocabulary. I'm dyslexic. I was always scared to read in front of people until I really read out loud. My vocabulary was horrendous. I was always looking up words. All those tests that I took for jobs and stuff, never any good. And one of the most scared times I've ever been in my life is when my first neurologist, Piedmont neurologist, who helped save my life, who told me, in fact, there is evidence that says, when I'm saying right now, there's evidence in MRIs that, in fact, that he has seen cellular activity, period, before and after with MRIs. That, in fact, your body, your muscles, and your brain will, in fact, grow as a result of having PTSD. I'll repeat that one more time. Your body physically can get stronger, and you can mentally smarter than prior to having PTSD, period. But you need to do the internal work like I've done repeatedly, and don't take them damn drugs. Seriously. Anything that's numbing is terrible for you. But what I did was, and I'm gonna put this into a post, and hopefully I can connect with Malcolm. He is one of my favorite football players of all time. Period. And right here, this I believe this is when he turned on University of Georgia and took it up the field took it to the house. I think he juked that there. I'm pretty sure he juked him. And anyway, it's really exciting. You know, inner growth you feel in PTSD recovery. Hey, like my hair, huh? I love it. Anyway, it's I did probably do for a haircut. I got a little bit. It's a little bit locky. Anyway, but that's when he turned on that Florida receiver and took it to the house. And that may have been his freshman year. I don't know. But what I did was I sat there and I didn't argue with Google AI, which I absolutely love. I love Google AI. It's not as addictive, and I guess in a sense as ChatGPT can be. But I think ChatGPT is an incredible coach, and you can. To me, evidence has always been, and it was always evidence of stuff like this I could look up instantly and read about, certainly with human anatomy in the body and how I was feeling. But anyway, back to idiom metaphor. So he uses that, every page, every chapter, every book. So that's his metaphor, and the idiom it adds up. So in society, if that becomes standard, if he becomes a famous writer like Ernest Hemingway or somebody like that, if that becomes standard, well, he talks to kids. He's a keynote speaker. So who knows? Yeah, I don't know how. I just connected with him like 3 weeks ago through my boy Randy Curran, my favorite football player of all time, who taught me football. I just watched number 35. Anyway, I talked to him about 15 months ago, and had the Gwinnett County 197 tackles record holder, and his mom was a nurse too. And I told him about my sister. We had about a 45-minute conversation on the phone about I'd met him once before, and I think he remembered me through one of my favorite people, Chip Smith and Bob Sherritt. Chip Smith trained Nikki Rennie, but at any rate, but if those phrases become standard in society, it is in fact an idiom metaphor. But to me, when I read it, but adds up. So I don't know. I guess categorically, you can kind of intuitively say that's an idiom metaphor. You know, to me, it sounds like one. To me, instantly, but I was in fact correct by kind of looking up. What I did was I went to Google, and I was like, well, what is an idiom metaphor? And as I've done repeatedly over and over and over and over again, and I've been right about 29 times out of 20. I use these phrases all the time in words that I've never in my friggin' life used. I've never. It's unbelievable. I can't even believe it. I use the word synthesis. I mean, it's just crazy. Oxidation. I mean, it's repeatedly. Even in technology terms, I connect stuff across domain. It's insane. I can't even believe it. And it's intuitive pattern recognition. It's crazy. I just can't even believe it. And I just encourage people to in PTSD recovery just slow down, and learn to breathe, and do somatic practices, stretch, do martial arts, do yoga. That's where I started. Was really yoga. Get a foam roller for myofascial release, and just start rolling your hands and arms and your whole body. Get into your back. Once you get on your back and start rolling your I cannot believe that in society and that you can buy a foam roller at Target for $20. And thank God I had one, and I picked up I started using it and started rolling my hands, and I picked up a magazine in Borders or Barnes and Noble. I think it's Barnes and Noble. in Buckhead, and I started reading. It was a yoga book. I saw that. Turned one page. I started reading about that foam roller, and it pushes blood. And I hurt this hand playing pickleball when I twisted it. And I worked for 10,000 hours on this damn hand, and immediately I could feel blood pushing in because it just rolls, and it's great for your fascia tissue and whatnot. But it's amazing. If you put your trust in God and you let go and trust the process of healing. If you need to take off work, take off work. You're not gonna starve. You're gonna get so much smarter and so much more physically capable. It's gonna take time. Just like and he uses that. He talks about it. Progress takes time. It's the little things, and they add up. The little things in life, they add up, and once they start adding up, man, you're gonna feel it. And just learn to trust yourself. Do not listen to your therapist. Listen to your doctors. That's so important, and you've got to make your own decisions. You've got to make. Everybody's gonna be telling if you're like me, people please, like I was a people please. That's over. That's done, and people don't like it. People don't like it because they, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I can't help that. It's about my health, and they don't like it, and that's documented too. It's documented, period. And you do not need to be friends with everybody. You do not. It's about your health, and it's about boundaries, period. And they're critical. And all this younger generation, Gen Z, they all recognize that. It's my generation, the generation up, that don't like it. They don't like it, and that's not my problem, man. That's not my problem. I've done my work on myself. But hats off to number 26, former NFL wide receiver and University of Georgia stud, Malcolm Mitchell, one of my favorite players of all time. He really is. His sophomore year, he moved over and played defensive back, corner, to help the team out because we were thin there, and we really needed him. And he was selfless. He sacrificed himself, and he hurt himself, and he had to. It took him a while to have a comeback. I think he had two ACL surgeries. But anyway, hopefully this influences somebody.